There are three types of lies. Lies, damned lies, and statistics. Now, if you've been subscribed to me for a prolonged period of time, you know I am not a big fan of statistics. Let this video show you guys exactly why that is.
A new study shows 1 in 3 college men would force a woman to have sex against her will if he thought he could get away with it.
I'm pretty sure there's a word for that.
Well, I see you're not illiterate. Oh, don't worry, you guys will see why I get on this woman as harshly as I do as the video goes on.
John and Hannah here, and while what I said in the intro is true,
Actually, it's not true at all, but continue.
It's not even the worst part, and we'll get to that in just a second. This research was done at the University of North Dakota. They talked to 73 men attending the same college. 31.7% of those asked said they would act on intentions to force a woman to sexual intercourse if they were confident they could get away with it. But the far worse part is, when asked whether they would act on intentions to rape a woman with the same assurances they wouldn't face consequences, 13.6% of participants agreed.
So here's the interesting thing. It took me a couple of minutes, but I found the study. Well, actually I didn't find this study. It was Mr. 1001 Nights, who has a video on his own channel talking about this more extensively, has the link to the study. Here's the interesting thing. If you go on to page 37, you see question 1314 says, if you could be assured that no one would know that you could do, if you could be assured that no one would know and that you could in no way be punished for engaging in the following acts, how likely, if at all, would you be to commit such acts? And then you have, because the study uses the Malamud scale, which is basically a scale, you know, the 1 to 5 scale you see on job applications or like personality tests, would be like, how likely are you to do this? Not at all, not all that likely, somewhat likely, or like, you got, actually you have 3, and the 3-point scale is like, usually like neutral, like no opinion, and then you have 4, which is likely, and then you have very likely, and depending on how the range of the scale goes. So if you go down there, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different things, including his pedophilia and transvestitism, but we're only going to focus on rape here. So the rape statistics, when you add them all up, are indeed true, except here's the thing. Because the question that was asked these guys was not, would you force a woman to have sex with you? It says, forcing a woman to do something she didn't want to do, which is the key thing right there. Because that could be interpreted in a number of different ways, even if it is implied sexual. So, with that being said, 1, we have the scales incorrectly used because the middle ground is neutral or no opinion, so that should be discarded entirely. So I don't know what the fuck is in between not at all and very likely when it comes to this test. That's the first thing. Second thing, we still have a disgustingly small sample size of only 73 men. And actually, I think the original study actually had 86 men and they only used the 73 men in the study. So part of that is fraudulent. But again, you can go to Mr. 1001 Nights, I think. His video will be in the description box below. But I just wanted to point that out. So with that being said, let's keep going.
You can take that one of two ways. One is that the number went down to 1/3 of what it was originally, which is good, but 13.6% of college men say they would rape a woman if they could.
Well, also, I think we just need to get these 73 men a dictionary.
No, you daft idiot. As you can tell by the statistics, which you misinterpreted in its entirety, some of the answers were fucking consistent. So not all 73 men were confused by the wording of that question. And again, you were wrong when you reported that, or at least the person you were reading or who told you that was wrong. Because the question was not if you could have sexual intercourse, the question was do something that she didn't want to do. Which I'm not saying is wrong or right, but what I am saying is that it is misinterpreted and misinformation that you provided in your video. So I mean, enough with the quips, you daft idiot. That's my job.
I think, well, yes.
They just need to figure out what the word actually means.
Yes. Well, both of those statistics are obviously scary. I find the 13.6 to be the scariest.
Insane. But you know
what if you asked if you could murder a person and not get away with it? Would 15% say yes?
No, I am sure a small portion of society would certainly say yes to that question. It doesn't mean that they are going to do it. It just would mean that they're just being honest, and I can understand why you would feel that way. However, again, you have a disgustingly small sample size, which you cannot use to accurately reflect all of fucking society, let alone college students, but whatever.
Sad thing is, I think that 30% is probably an underestimate of the actual number. I mean, because 73 people is a really small sample size.
Bigger or not, you still run into the ultimate fucking problem of statistics, and that is that it cannot reflect reality. It can only show you the thoughts of that sample size that you have. Statistics are only relevant or only useful when applied correctly. And when you make a statement that 1 in 3 college men would rape, that's not applying what that person found correctly, you stupid idiot.
It is, of course.
If you took, let's say, and North Dakota is not a very populous state, so maybe if you took more population,
I mean, who knows?
And I think it would be bigger.
Either way, I mean, those are some pretty
really
scary numbers. Sarah Edwards is an assistant professor of counseling who was involved in the study. Now, if you were to actually interview, like exit interview every guy and ask, what did you think force a woman to have sex meant? I would be very interested to see what they say.
Now, see, that's the very interesting thing, because if you read the study, you would find that that was not the question they were fucking asked.
Because they obviously, 2/3 of them would not rape a woman, they say, so they think it means something different. I don't know what it is they think it means.
Or there's such a negative connotation with the word rape. That
it scares them?
No, but that you say like, oh, I shouldn't say that I would rape a woman. But then when you are not thinking about it in logical terms and you just like forcibly have sex with somebody, then they'll be like, oh yeah, whatever, like she's drunk.
Yeah.
Yes, because you imply that as well as them potentially being rapists, you think that they're fucking illiterate, even though they're goddamn college students. Yeah, that's right, they have illiterate college. What does that say about the education system in America? That they have fucking illiterate college students that cannot tell the fucking definition of the word rape. Crazy, right? It looks like we need more sexual education, because apparently, you know, not putting your hands on women does not logically follow suit that you shouldn't force them to fucking have sex with you, right? Because you just have such a disgusting little opinion of college men. This is fucking ridiculous. This is damn stupid. Like, again, you know, there's a huge problem with your video, and that's the fact that the question did not actually ask them if they would force a woman to have sex. They said do something sexual. The question is, what did these guys think when they said that? Maybe it could have been rape, but because it was not specifically, it wasn't even fucking implied there, there's no real way to know that. And then there was the ultimate problem that 73 men do not fucking accurately represent thousands of people, millions actually, in the fucking educational system. You idiots.
Because the thing is, like, you could sort of fool them into seeming like they want to rape someone by doing words that sort of hide, like, maybe, like, pressure someone into sex or try to convince them.
So trying to convince somebody is rape now, Wow, who would have fucking thought? The act of persuasion is now rape. Bloody hell.
But they say, even force.
Force is a pretty strong word.
Like, that's not even hiding it all that much, and still... one of the 3 men said
in addition to that point that you made from the article, is that they did a study that was focused on teenage girls in the U.S. and they found that most of them assume that sexual coercion and violence is normal because that's kind of like the norm now, because men just kind of do it and they feel like men can't control themselves.
Yeah.
Golly gee, I kind of wonder why. Can't possibly have anything to do with all those fraudulent statistics that feminists throw around. Nope, can't have nothing to do with that. Second thing, actually, I'm going to save that for another video later in the course of my lifetime. So I'm just going to let you guys wonder what that second thing was until then. However, yeah, again, I'm not really shocked that these women think that, considering with all of the feminist propaganda, including the shit that you're doing right fucking now.
So it's both ends have this
dwarfed
idea of sexual, interactions.
I mean, I think that, so we should differentiate. So they consider it the norm, I think partially because we're more willing as a society to talk about it.
Right.
The actual percentage of people who are raped, the number of rapes per year, is at far lower than it was decades ago. So it's not actually
but it's still
more.
At a crazy
No. I'm not saying that at
level.
all. I just don't want to feed into like people, like if people like get attacked by sharks, then they think that there are more sharks. The actual number is down, and the reason I say that is because that is a good thing. We should be proud that society has less. It's
I know this isn't a rebuttal, but did you see her face when that nigga said that? Like, she had this genuine look of fucking, like, confusion when he fucking said... Whatever, let's keep going.
Still, any is bad. I'm simply pointing out statistics. It's low.
Okay, I'll point out, like, 1 in 4 women will get sexually assaulted before they're 25. That is fucking crazy.
So, no,
that is not like a small statistic to be like, you know.
I know. You guys remember all of those fraudulent statistics I was talking about earlier in today's video? That is one of them. Just saying.
I'm just saying that we do have to acknowledge that it's lower.
And yes, if that statistic were truly that high, and 1 in 4 women were truly sexually assaulted before the time they hit 25, you would think that that would incentivize more women to learn how to defend themselves from rape. Except it doesn't. Because that statistic is bullshit.
But, I mean, the obvious disconnect here is that so many of these guys, and we're talking about at least 20% of college guys, at least in the study, don't see the connection between forcing someone to have sex and raping someone. And that is where I think education, hopefully, maybe I'm being idealistic, but hopefully could convince them that that is the same thing.
No, and I think that's a really good point, because I think a lot of the time that, like, rape prevention is focused on the woman, like, don't get too drunk, watch your drink, watch what you're wearing, like, all this other bullshit.
Really? Self-defense is bullshit. Who would have fucking thought?
Whereas the education really needs to start with the men, because they're committing the act. So if you're informing them, okay, this is what's considered rape.
In this case, they're committing the act. Obviously, college men also get raped.
Yes.
We're focusing on one particular direction.
In larger numbers. But I think that if the education focused on men, like, informing them and educating them, then maybe the problem wouldn't arise as much.
Yeah.
Now, there was a very, very easy way for you to say what you just said, and that is, can be summed up in 5 little words. Teach men not to rape. Just made your job fucking easier for you.
Although, we do have to understand that there is going to be some percentage of people who will do it regardless, because 13.6% are saying they would rape someone.
Now, any sensible person would realize that you cannot teach a fucking psychopath that raping someone is wrong. However, a lot of other people who find themselves to be reasonable would say something like this.
¿Por qué no los dos?
And so there is a certain percentage of humanity who will do any terrible thing so long as they think there will not be consequences. And
I'm not really sure why that surprises you in any way, shape, or form, honestly. What does shock or surprise me is the fact that you're spreading around this bullshit statistic as if it was true, when it very clearly is not.
And I guess we just have to, well, one thing that we could do that could help with that is universities could actually take seriously when people say that they've been raped. And
universities don't take rape seriously. I'm just gonna let that one marinate in your guys' mind.
Actually have some negative consequences. And maybe one of the reasons so many men are willing to say that they would is because they don't see a lot of people suffering consequences for doing it. And so they think that it's not so bad. Whereas maybe if we were to change that, actually get the universities to do something about it, we could see that number go down as well.
Now, that statement was fantastically stupid for several reasons. The first reason was because the goddamn survey fucking said that you would face no consequences, you idiot. They're not saying that these men would do it with the consequences being in play. They're saying they would do it if the consequences weren't in fucking play. And even with that being said, it's still a statistic that was fraudulently created.
See, and have, like, an education about the consequences of what it does to the woman who's raped, or a man, or whoever's raped. What the consequences that, not just like, oh, you're gonna get punished if this happens.
Yeah, except if you're dealing with a psychopath, one who does not have a capacity for empathy, you will realize that they don't fucking care. Closing thoughts. This is why I despise fucking statistics, okay? Because there's just no way you can use 73 men to accurately portray 1/3 of all men in college. It's asinity at its fucking finest, okay? And when you spread some shit like that around, all it does is it hurts the reputation of men in general. It creates a state of paranoia for women who don't understand that what you just said is complete and utter bullshit. And then when you go around telling them that it's stupid to try to learn to defend yourself and that you should teach men not to rape, you then get a bunch of women who think that it's not their responsibility to protect themselves, when it very clearly is. With that being said, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comments below. And as always, have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.